Welcome to Course 4, Foundation, Certified Supply Chain Professional, CSCP, course, by SPAO Academy. Topic 3, Sourcing Products and Services, Section 8, Supplier Contracting, Lesson 1, Types of Supplier Contracts. Types of supplier contracts. In the world of sourcing, a handshake isn't enough. A supplier contract is a legally binding agreement between a buyer and a supplier that outlines the terms of their working relationship. For a beginner, understanding the different types of contracts is essential because the type you choose dictates your flexibility, risk, and financial commitment. Contracts generally fall into three main categories: fixed price, cost-reimbursable, and strategic partnership agreements. 1. Fixed price contracts, FP. This is the most common type of contract for beginners. As the name suggests, the price is agreed upon before the work begins and does not change regardless of how much it costs the supplier to deliver. How it works. The supplier bears the risk of cost overruns, e.g., if raw materials become more expensive, the supplier eats that cost. Best for products or services with well-defined scopes, e.g., buying 1,000 branded mugs, office furniture, or a specific software license. Variants for beginners. Firm fixed price, FFP. The price is set in stone. No changes allowed unless the scope of work changes. Fixed price with economic price adjustment, FPEPA. Used for long-term contracts where the price can adjust based on a standard index, e.g., if the contract spans 3 years, the price of steel might be tied to the market index to ensure the supplier doesn't go bankrupt. Pros. Low administrative burden, predictable budgeting. Cons. Suppliers may cut corners to protect their profit margin, less flexible if requirements change. 2. Cost-Reimbursable, CR, contracts. In this type, the buyer agrees to pay the supplier for the actual costs incurred, plus an additional fee, profit. This shifts the risk from the supplier to the buyer. How it works. The buyer pays cost, labor, materials, plus fee, profit. Because the supplier isn't risking their own money, there is less incentive to keep costs low unless specific incentives are built in. Best for complex projects where the scope is unclear, e.g., R&D, custom software development, emergency services. Variants for beginners. Cost plus fixed fee, CPFF. The profit, fee, is set at the beginning. Even if costs spiral, the supplier makes the same flat profit. Cost plus incentive fee, CPIF. If the supplier comes in under budget, they share the savings with the buyer. If they go over budget, they share the overrun. Pros. High flexibility, allows for changes mid-project. Cons. High administrative overhead, the buyer must audit costs, higher risk of budget overruns. 3. Time and materials, T&M. This is a hybrid model. It is essentially a combination of labor billing, cost reimbursable, and materials, fixed price. How it works. The buyer pays a fixed hourly rate for labor, which includes the supplier's profit and overhead, plus the actual cost of materials. Best for service-based needs where the duration is uncertain, e.g., hiring a consultant, IT support, or construction labor for an unknown repair. Pros. Quick to establish, easy to scale up or down as needed. Cons. No ceiling on total cost. Requires strict oversight to ensure the supplier isn't padding hours. 4. Strategic agreements. Beyond transactional contracts, beginners should be aware of long-term relational contracts. Master Services Agreement, MSA. An MSA is a framework contract. Instead of signing a new legal contract every time you need something, you sign the MSA once, covering legal terms, liability, confidentiality, and then issue statements of work, SOWs, for individual projects. Beginner tip. This is the standard for working with agencies, freelancers, or recurring service providers. Non-disclosure agreement, NDA, often the first contract signed before any business is discussed. It legally prevents the supplier from sharing your proprietary information, designs, customer lists, secret recipes, with competitors. Letter of intent, LOI, term sheet. A non-binding document that states the parties intend to form a contract. It is used to hold the spot while legal teams draft the full contract. Summary table for beginners. Contract type risk bearer best use case key consideration. Fixed price supplier buying standard goods, Clear specs ensure the scope is 100% defined before signing. Cost-reimbursable buyer R&D. Innovative projects, you must have the budget to handle potential cost overruns. Time and materials buyer staff augmentation. Emergency repairs set a not to exceed cap to control budget. MSA both long-term partnerships saves time on legal fees for repeat business. Key terms for beginners. Scope of work, so a detailed description of what the supplier is supposed to deliver. If it's not in the SOW, the supplier doesn't have to do it. Indemnification. A promise that the supplier will protect the buyer if their product causes harm or infringes on someone else's intellectual property. Force majeure. The act of God clause that frees both parties from liability if something unavoidable, hurricane, war, prevents the contract from being fulfilled. I really appreciate you spending your time with me today. If you want to learn more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Your like means the world to us and helps this channel grow so we can continue bringing you great content. Thanks again, and see you on the next video.